thing that you mentioned that I'm using my phone and my questions are in my phone.
Oh, so I have to have the questions. Where are they at? Okay, here they are. All right.
I'll be right back. I got to grab my notebook.
Okay.
I have like a list of 50 tracks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, I think we're live.
Hey, wait, 1 second here.
You guys
we're live?
Yes,
Why are we live?
Because we're live. Why not?
Alex, can you?
It won't be on. It won't be on the
number.
It won't be on the edited podcast. So whatever happens is fine.
That's fine. Hey, what? Could you just list off like Cliff Notes style, like each question, so I can write it down?
Okay. How did you get started racing? All-time favorite class. What inspired to create Ignite? And then recommended equipment. This is a good question. Why is it better to have a rotary carb over a slide carb? What fuel to use? Recommended starter box. Any upgraded durability parts looking for in the future?
What was the last one?
What fuel to use? Recommended starter box.
Okay. Anything else? Upgrades?
Yeah.
Then the last one tracks?
Yeah. Then where are the tracks and why? That sort of thing. Any upcoming events where they're going to be racing gas truck in the future?
How do you have time for this kind of thing, Will?
I that sleep.
He didn't race on Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I worked on this. Was it when did I text you Saturday night?
I think so. Yeah, you texted me right when we started the mains.
Okay.
So I looked down at it and went, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, when I messaged you those, Chad, I spent a half hour or so.
I gotcha.
And this is a lot of these are questions that I get asked.
Yeah.
And so that's where I came up with these, because I started a group chat for gas truck guys at our track, and there's 3 of us in the group right now. It's just called Gas Truck Dudes, D00 DZ. But these are a lot of the questions that people.
As long as you didn't call it squad, I'd be okay.
No, never squad.
We can't be anything squad, especially that has to work with dirt at all. There's no.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, no. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought about using that name and then total making it work.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
And just totally stealing it.
Oh.
Chad knows it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He probably doesn't.
Dirt Squad?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
No, I barely remember yesterday.
I don't think Chad's in on the joke.
Afterwards, I'll fill you in and remind me.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, well, I'll start us off here since we're just going to get going. We're actually starting on time. I'm proud of you guys. It's 6:30.
Woo! That's first time for everything, you know what I'm saying?
So this is Alex Sturgeon with the Hobbytown Hobbyplex here for the Hobbyplex Show podcast. With me, as always, is
Will Brinton. Will Brinton.
And a special guest today is Chad Parks. And you are the owner of Ignite RC. You're it, right? You're the guy.
Yeah. Yep. Sole owner.
Yes. So, Chad Parks, longtime racer. I think you're as old as I am, right?
Yeah, I'm 42.
Oh, I'm older than you. That's weird.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Anyways, but we wanted to bring him on because he's got this cool new company that's sole purpose in life is to bring back gas truck. Am I phrasing that right?
That's pretty much it. I left it open for maybe rejuvenating anything that used to be cool, but the focus is gas truck right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to bring back rear motors someday.
Oh, well, I mean, honestly, if outdoor tracks ever got to the point where there was more of them than indoor tracks, that might be something that's needed.
Yeah, that's right.
You know? Okay. Well, I got to do our sponsor. With us is our, oh my gosh, I'm so out of it. I had a weird day today, guys. I had to wake up at 10:30. Actually, I had to wake up at like 10, which is really 9 o'clock because of daylight savings time. And I had a stupid dentist appointment that was scheduled 6 months ago that I got reminded that it was on Sunday, that I had to go on Monday. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I got up way earlier than I normally do because Monday's my normal day off. So my mind is gone. Anyways, this program is brought to you by Pivot Lending Group. You can find them at pivotlending.com and mention our show to either Don Zoller or Aiden Olson when you get set up with a home loan or refinance, and you can get $500 lender credit or 0.125 off your rate. It's either or. So pick one of those two when you get set up, and that's the deal with Pivot Lending.
And that's Aiden Olson's dad.
What did I say?
Just Aiden Olson.
Oh, geez. Holy crap. Aiden Olson's dad. Aiden Olson's dad. It's a running gag now.
Yeah, just call and ask for Aiden Olson.
Yeah, we
and
never
he'll transfer you to his dad.
Yeah, we never actually mention Aiden Olson's dad name on here. It's just Aiden Olson. Aiden Olson's dad. Yeah, there you go. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. That's kind of a running gag that we have.
Jeez Louise. I'm already screwing this up today.
It's okay.
So this was kind of Will's idea. He's like, hey, you want to bring Chad on? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun. So we got you on here.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
We got you on here. We're gonna hammer you with questions, and then I do want to talk about the Tecno series, and since you were there, we can do that, and then and that should be that. Questions on YouTube right now probably be set aside for next week, unless you drop a super chat, and then maybe we can all three of us can tackle your super chat. But otherwise, we're gonna get the gist on everything from Chad Parks and Ignite RC.
Yeah,
so,
you might not have any questions after we're done with that.
Yeah, exactly.
That list.
Yeah, I worked on a list.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know who Chad Parks is, like some of the new guys like that might have started racing around here, or because our show's pretty local, you know.
That's true.
But Chad Parks is one of those guys that you show up to race at Fastlane and you might not have ever heard of him, but he's like pretty dang fast. And it's like, who the heck is this guy? And Chad Parks, super cool. We wear the same hat and glasses. And he started a new company to bring back gas truck. So I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get started racing? And, you know, like any kind of racing, what led you to RC?
I never was really a competitive person growing up. I wasn't in sports, and I honestly I never was involved in competition until all of a sudden one day I showed up at Steve Hale's track in Pleasant Hill with I think I had a Grasshopper, and I didn't even bring it out of the truck. I was like, wrong place. So it just real quickly, I realized how much I loved competition, and furthermore, I loved racing, and just jumped in with both feet. My first race car was an RC10 GT, and I just kind of kept going from there and kept snowballing. And I got on the factory team with Team Associated in 2007, and have been ever since. So yeah, I just fell in love with racing and competition, and I, like Dave Wheeler always said, we'd race marbles if we could.
Oh yeah, I would.
It's just love competition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't we all? And you know, it doesn't matter what we're racing. I mean, we're still racing, and nobody's ever happy with second, no matter what.
That's right.
So your first car was actually a gas truck. What motor did you have in it? Do you remember? Like, what was the hot setup back then?
Well, I specifically remember that truck. I had a Traxxas, whatever. That stuff doesn't count. My first race kit was the GT with the A-main conversion,
Okay.
And they had a Paris dish, like a 12 SPD.
Mm-hmm.
And it came from Detroit. Like one of our local guys had gone to Freedom Hill and ran the Detroit race with the truck, the motor, and they brought it back and were selling it. So came with that engine. I think I had a CZZ that same year. And so yeah, those are like the early motors.
Yeah. It's,
With
was
like
that
half horse.
Yeah, was that the square head one? You know what I'm talking about?
That's too new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2007 is when you started racing?
No, that's when I started with Associated.
Oh, okay. When
So-
what around was the year when you started racing?
97.
97. Okay. I was like, that's not possible. But okay,
No.
that makes sense now.
No, it was 97. Sorry, yeah. That's when
Again,
I started.
see, I'm not aware of things today. That's why I'm drinking my caffeinated beverages. Go on. I'm sorry.
That's
Kick
okay.
start for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your all-time favorite class like when you started racing? I mean, you're primarily like a nitro guy, right?
Yeah.
Like when I think Chad
obviously,
Parks, I gas.
8 scale is kind of my bread and butter per se, but I really do prefer nitro 8 scale. And that's just where it's at for me.
Yeah. What have you always just had Associated 8 scales, or what? It's like 2008. Associated didn't have an 8 scale then, right?
No, that was the year they brought it out. So they brought it out
Okay.
in 2006, like mid to 06. And I was kind of hanging around. I hung around Richard Saxon a lot at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the new buggy coming out, he said, hey, do you want to start running this new car next year? So that's kind of where it all started.
Oh, that's cool.
So I basically started with them because of the 8 scale.
Yeah, definitely. And then what inspired you to create Ignite and bring back Gas Truck?
Really just how the newer platforms favor the conversion. I mean, don't get me wrong, it takes some effort, but less effort than it would have been 5 years ago.
Because everything's mid-motor.
Everything's mid-motor, and then like the TLR, it uses the lay-down transmission.
Yeah.
And honestly, it would have been a fight to use like the stand-up even. So really just the last couple of years, it became more realistic. Go ahead.
I looked at so you brought both. You were here Saturday for the Tecno series, and you brought both the Associated and the Losi truck with you. And I perused both of them, and there's a lot there that's not kit. Like there's like it could be its own thing.
There is a fair amount. There was a lot of work to it. I think there's 42 parts or so in the kit. And you wouldn't know by looking at it, but it's pretty involved.
Yeah. And the one thing that I noticed too about the build right off the bat was how tough everything looks.
Yeah. And that was the other thing that inspired it. You know, with Gas Truck kind of, being a close second to 8 scale is my all-time favorite. Always having the curiosity of what it would be like to have a durable GT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you look at that thing cross-eyed and it'd break.
Oh, there was a lot of devastation in those years.
Dude, I think I was I with the Losi truck, with the Triple XNT, and this is nothing to I'm not picking on the Losi truck in general. I'm just picking on myself more than anything. But I started going to Pleasant Hill, I think, in 2000 with gas trucks. Like I remember the Mugen Challenge. I went to that race a couple times. It had no 8 scale because I didn't have the money for it. And I only raced gas truck. And I think I was like 0 for 6 in finishing in any main events.
Yeah.
And then I got the GT.
That's a terrible record.
I know. And then I got a GT, a RC10 GT, the first one, the factory team kit, not the GT2, but the GT. And I ended up finishing races with that one. It just seemed like a tougher truck. And it was so much simpler, too.
Can't beat the GT.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't beat the GT.
I remember the 2006 RC Pro Series finals. I double nutted my wheels on, and like because I was so intent on just finishing the main, I didn't even give a crap where I finished, and I ended up finishing 10th, and I did finish the main, and I pulled my truck off, and the rear wheels were all wobbly because the bearings had blown out, but they weren't coming off because I double nutted it. It was great.
We've come so far with durability. So yeah, the curiosity to see that if this would possibly grow with availability and durability is really what's driven it. So
yeah. So go ahead.
No, you keep going. Where would we leave off?
I honestly was trying to remember what I was going to say. So
you're at what inspired you to build the truck, and it was there was a lot to that. That's where we left off at.
Yeah. Did you have any alternate names for the company, or how did you land on Ignite?
Just my wife, she's pretty epic. So if I ever ask her for help with, hey, I'm trying to name this thing here, come over and sit with me. So it was like late at night, kids were in bed, we were hanging out and just chatting it up. So she grabbed a sheet of paper and started brainstorming. And yeah, first on the agenda was to just kind of go through and create, the scope of what we were going to do, kind of the business model. I don't want to sound that official because I'm not. Yeah. But so yeah, through that just brainstorming, we came up with Ignite, and it'd be cool if I had my notes with me from that brainstorm sesh, but it revolved around part of the conversation was RC tech. Like buzzwords, keywords of the conversation was RC tech, old school, community, where we kind of have like closer friendships. You've heard that said a lot with RC, how we're kind of missing closer friendships in some areas. So all of it was just kind of going back to that community outside of Facebook with political posts and things like that, and kind of reigniting what makes us all love this hobby, the friendships, the relationships, fun on the track. So yeah, that's kind of at the core of it.
Yeah, people sometimes lose sight of what we're really doing here. We enjoy playing with our toy cars together. And getting to race is a bonus. Yeah. And then I guess moving on, since we kind of talked about the truck, the one thing that I was really impressed with is just the overall fit and finish of everything. Like, it doesn't look like some hogged out conversion kit, like you might see from another brand or another type of car or something. It's just like conversion kit number one, like, here's your conversion kit, and it's, unfinished parts, aluminum not bead blasted, parts not deburred. I mean, this thing looks like top quality stuff. You know what I mean? Or what I'm trying to say? Like,
yes.
So is that kind of like a trying thing? Like you'd get your parts back from your manufacturer, and it's like, this is not right. This needs to be chamfered. That kind of thing. Photos of parts with circles on them, I'm sure. Like, fix this. This needs to look this way.
A little bit.
Was that it? Yeah.
A little bit. It was a fairly short list, and most of that's thanks to Taylor James. So he helped me. He helped me kind of get kick-started, which I have to build a bar in his basement in return. That's coming shortly.
Yeah. That's one guy I haven't thought of in a while. It's Taylor James.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
He's always so cool.
I know he does he still work at Castle?
I guess it's common knowledge now. He just quit last week.
Oh.
And he's on to other things, but he's a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And has all the contacts and all that stuff. So we used his vendors. I had a couple of contacts and a couple of vendors. So this thing's sourced from a lot of different places, as a lot of things are, I'm sure. But so Taylor helped with a lot of that, and just starting out of the gate with a good tried and true vendor.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And I'm a meticulous person to begin with. So like, I'm a carpenter, and fit and accuracy is kind of my jam. So
I know the feeling. I'm a tool maker, so
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm because I'm clearly clearly not an engineer. So what you two just said doesn't apply to me at all. Not one bit.
But you can tell because you look at our cars. Our cars are always look good. You know, stuff works. Wheels aren't falling off.
Clean tires is like the first giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Did the oval stuff kind of play a role in what you were looking to do by any chance? Like, because the last maybe 5 or 6 years in oval, it's been, hey, here's a conversion kit for a B5 or a B6. Here's all the carbon fiber cool stuff, and then you just get one of these and you put it together, and poof, you've got an oval car. Did that have anything to do with what you were thinking of doing with this?
More along the lines of what people were willing to spend on a conversion.
Oh.
And kind of adding, some confidence with that. So, And I referenced, that was mainly the only thing I referenced or probably drew from that segment was, oh my gosh, people are willing to pay that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
And, trust me, this isn't priced off of like industry standard prices. This is priced to sell.
Yeah.
So when I kind of established my price just based on what I thought people would be willing to pay and still being able to cover myself, I also saw that the dirt oval was about the same and people were willing to pay for that. So, yeah,
right. No, that's actually a really good way to look at it, is just see what was actually be in it for a company to start. Because if you had a $600 conversion kit, you aren't going to sell a whole many or that many. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you look at my like some of the like two wheels, people spend or use 4-wheel drive rather. Like if you look at like a 13.5 4-wheel drive buggy. I mean, people have easily $300 in extras and add-ons and all kinds of stuff on those vehicles too.
Just in the roller.
Yeah, just in the roller.
Yeah.
So really, to spend an extra $300 or was it $295.99 on a conversion kit or like on parts or like whatever for a race vehicle, we all do it. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah. End of the day, we don't do this stuff because it's cheap either. So
I think it's cheap compared to other racing I've done. Yeah.
If you talk, it's weird because when we get in the store, if you talk to people who have done, 1-1 cars, and they're like, well, how much do I need to drop in this? And I go, well, realistically, $1,500, $1,600 for an 8 scale. And you're like, oh, really? That's it? And you're like,
you're ready to rip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go. Here we go. Here's your car.
Yeah, you'd spend that at a night on tires and fuel and pole and all kinds of stuff, just racing go-karts.
Yeah. That also makes me want to mention when we talk about price. I said to somebody this weekend that just to keep in mind that it's not like you're throwing away your electric truck. You're not, it's not get rid of the electric truck, in comes a nitro. It really is, to sound cliche, 2 kits in one. And the only thing you don't use for the conversion kit is the chassis and the battery strap and the waterfall. So like my electric kit, I don't have one right here right now, but it stays whole in a sense. Everything that's on the chassis stays there. Speed control, motor, battery, servo, receiver, transponder, and you just pull the front and rear clips off, put it on the gas truck. So seasonally to swap back and forth is very realistic. I mean, it's like 15 minutes and 12 screws. I never counted, but probably 12 screws and you're done.
That's less than taking out a low-C diff.
You see, you can change classes and faster than it takes to change your diff in your low-C vehicle.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hate to interrupt, but we did promise that if anybody drops a super chat, we have to answer it. So
is it Jason Haley?
It's not. It's Peter Renault. We got a $5 super chat from Jason. Or
nice.
Not from Jason. Good Lord. From Peter. It is Canadian dollars, so I'm not sure how that transfers. But
that's like $40.
Yeah. How do I tighten my T6 ball diff without taking anything apart? Can't tell by the vids he saw on YouTube. And then he wants to know, do people glue two-wheel drive front tires? I'll take the two-wheel drive front tires. Yes, they do. You got to glue all your tires all the way around too.
Yeah. Or you mean sidewalls?
No, I think he means just gluing them. Yes, you do. Even on carpet, especially on carpet. Otherwise, they'll come off.
Yeah, you got to be gluing your tires.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to take out or to tighten the diff, like on my two-wheel, I have it sitting right here. I just undo this one camber link and take the tire off, and then reach in there, and then I turn this tire with the wrench in there to tighten the diff to my liking. Usually an eighth turn or loosen an eighth turn at a time is all you need. But I mean, one screw use the tire. Your tires are probably already off. I mean,
and the other thing too is using the tire works out really nice. You put the wrench in there, and then you literally just use the tire to tighten it or loosen it. Yeah,
it's a little bit because it kind of like it makes it easier to see how much you're tightening or loosening. So that's why I do it that way if I turn to the tire.
Yep.
Pro tip. Yeah. I guess moving on here. Was that it for super chats?
That's it for now. Yep.
That's it for now. Okay. So since we talked about the truck, fit and finish, all that stuff, now we're ready to build this thing. What electronics do you recommend? Like servo and another servo and pretty much just servos.
What about an batteries. Engine? What about those that can't get a hold of classic engines?
Well, we're getting the engines.
Okay,
all
right.
Servos is really nothing special. Anything you would put in your 10 scale is suitable. So, like my 10 scale steering servo is the Reedy. Let me reference the part number here. There it is. RT1705A. Where's my camera? There it is. And
that's the one I have. Yeah, see, Chad and I, look, we run the same stuff. You know, we're good.
Torque is what is that anyway? It's not that crazy as far as cost or anything like that. You don't need anything fast. Like 0.1 is plenty on transit speed, and what, like 100 ounces or so is plenty. 150 ounces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pretty much run a high torque servo all the time anymore. So servo's pretty basic. You don't need anything fancy. I do prefer the low pro up front, just for the fact that that's what I put my 10 scale cars. Just keep it consistent. Right.
Yeah.
What would you use for? Oh, go ahead.
And it leaves a little room in the back of the on the back of the servo to put your transponder, just like you normally do.
Yeah. Today's low profile servos are so tough, and especially the metal cased ones, that it's nice because you get that extra little bit of room.
Yeah, more room for activities.
That's right.
So what about throttle servo? Just something with some speed?
Same thing. Like 0.1 would be my minimum preference on speed, and I'll run like a 0.06, but then I slow it down. So.
Mm-hmm. And you would go with the shorty servo?
You could. I'm using the other one. I don't know the part number off the top of my head.
Is it the newer aluminum cased Reedy servo?
Yeah, 3507A.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have the numbers memorized, don't you?
I can't forget them. I was talking to Mac about this last time we were racing. It's like, I don't forget anything, dude. Like, ask me what left side weight we ran on what date on a go-kart in 2007, and I can tell you. I just remember all that stuff. I remember the rear droop and front droop and what pistons were in my car the second to last time we raced at Blue Group Hobbies in Des Moines, Iowa. If you dropped a handful of toothpicks, I could count them before they hit the table. Yeah, it's insane.
Will messaged me the other day and said, "What droop are you running in your truck?" My answer was just, I don't know. It was raining cats and dogs, so I wasn't going to go outside. My truck was still in my car. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that stuff.
Okay, that's fine. So moving along here to engines. So what's the engine you recommend for this bad boy?
So there's two engines right now that I'm aware of, and somebody might come up with something else. that I'm not aware of. But one is on my website. I get them. I try to keep them in stock, but so far, as quick as I get them in, I sell them. So
Yeah.
it's an OS 12TG, and OS currently makes them. It's a direct drop in. I sell it for $230, and
that
so
engine's going to last a long time.
Yeah,
Like
it should be like any other. I think it's a nickel sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you'll get a season out of it, probably possibly even 2 seasons.
That was
out
one of the
it,
nice
so.
things about Gas Truck too. Was the engines? You weren't very hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't lay it all down, all the power.
I had a last minute purchase at the NAT 2005 in Harlingen. I went down there with no gas truck engine, and then the only thing that the place had, had an online shop, online on-site shop, so I figured they'd have engines down there, right? So it's a pretty big risk to go down there without an engine. So all they had was an Orion Wasp 12, and I was like, ugh, like that's not what I wanted. And so I went up to Pillars and I said, hey man, I'm like, is that engine gonna be okay? He's like, yeah, of course, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. Why would I tell you different? I'm like, well, okay. So I went over there and I bought the engine. I broke it in that night at the hotel, and I kid you not, that engine ran like for 3-4 years.
Nice.
In my truck, and
Nice.
That was going to a lot of nitro races back then. So, gas truck's not hard on your engines at all.
I have this bad boy, my TZ. I pulled this out of my GT2 that has all the T4 stuff on it. This thing I can't even turn it over. Like, it's got so much pinch still.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty. I polished my pipe the other day. I only told you that so I could say that.
Oh, I want to make a joke, but it'd be tough.
Yeah.
So I could say that.
Mm-hmm.
So the other engine is on A main, and it's an SH12, and it sells for like 130, maybe 140. I think it's 137.
Yeah.
And that's a phenomenal option. If you're not like a diehard OS fan, I hate recommending something I'm not selling, but that's an awesome engine. I watched them run, and they're affordable, they're available. So anyway, to my knowledge, those are the 2 engines that are available.
I have a question for you.
Production.
Again, as somebody who's clearly not an engineer, all the engines out and all the little 12s that are out now, they're not standard cranks, are they?
They're standard by today's standards. It's a SG crank, same as 8 scale. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember that was a big problem as gas truck was kind of fading away back then.
Yeah.
Was finding engines that had a standard crank was next to impossible.
Yeah.
So,
and then there's ways people are able to adapt their old engines to the new truck here with some older parts. But the best news is that the new engines drop right in.
yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah. I have one of those adapters. I think I have 2 of them, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ought to make them available for the public.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know how many people. I know people are hunting for them here and there, but
yeah. Man. Talking about engines here.
Rotary carb versus slide carb.
yeah,
Yeah.
carburetors. So I favor the slide carb simply because they're available, and that's the current crop of engines.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Will, have you ever run a slide carb?
Yeah, I have one for this.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was running gas truck, I don't know if I didn't have my radio adjusted correctly or what, but I thought that the rotary carb was kind of a must-have, personally.
Yeah,
but that could have been back then.
It smoothed that out a lot for sure, but the slide carb is manageable for a couple reasons. One, I'm using a 3-shoe clutch.
Yeah.
That kind of smooths the whole delivery out a little bit. The other is the AE truck is overgeared by 2 teeth on the spur gear. Overgeared from what you typically would run in like a modified truck or like the old GT.
Yeah.
So that smooths it out a little bit as well on the low end. So anyway, from experience recently, the slide carb is manageable. And that's generally what comes with the newest motors. So
Yeah.
that's what I've sold the truck as. That's what I set the linkage up for. You know, when you buy the truck, it favors the slide carburetor just because that's what's available. So,
but could you put a rotary carb in it pretty easily?
Yeah. Yeah. So with the newer kits, you would probably have to have one in your hand to understand what I'm talking about. But there's a brake lever on the newer kits.
Okay.
For the brake linkage.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ones that are coming up, there's going to be a universal one that's reversible, so you can not have to have any extra parts to do a rotary carb or a slide carb.
Cool.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So right now, some of the guys have had to do a little bit of modification to get the rotary carb to work in there, but.
Mm-hmm. And I bet if you ran the TG engine, because the TG engine has a little bit less horsepower than like a Speed, or right, and the TZ, or even if you ran that, what was that other brand of engine with the gold head?
That SH.
SH engine. I mean, with a little bit less power, I'm sure the slide carburetor would be more manageable too. You know, I mean, that it all kind of blends together, right? So, like, I was trying to run this, 1.5 horsepower honking motor with a more powerful carburetor, and it probably just didn't gel. But I bet if you ran the SH engine or even the TG engine, it'd probably be more manageable. Because honestly, I mean, this is overpowered. The bigger engine, like it's going to have a lot of rip. So
I was at a race in Oklahoma a few months ago, and I took the TZ out that you have in your hand in favor of a TG because it was just way too much. So I threw the TG, and I'm like, oh yeah, now we're talking. I can really rip on it. So
yeah, and I'm a puller. I like to pull throttle.
Yeah,
I'm a yanker.
We just got a super chat, and it kind of goes into talking about engines a little bit. I think it's from Wade Gehring. It's $5. Does anyone run electric fans on nitro engines? Have you ever? I remember being on the competition director at Roar, and I believe it was an email from Chad Bradley back in the day that was asking about that if it was legal to blow air onto a nitro engine, and we all looked at each other like, yeah, there's no rule about that. Have you ever heard anybody doing that?
I never have. I can't imagine a fan holding up, one, and then two, I don't see the benefit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about on brake linkage? What about on the brake discs?
Yeah, maybe there. I could see that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some diff cooling. We need some differential cooling and some brake disc cooling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know like how you would do that with an engine, because that thing's like, I don't know, you look at like maybe even 5 degrees. Yeah.
I would think it would be pretty nominal unless it was a giant fan.
That or a water cooled radiator with the fan on it.
Yeah, I think they just need an operating temperature to work for the metallurgy to be right. And if you're trying to sit at a certain temperature or go faster, maybe cool it so you can lean it out more, then you're not getting the right fuel mixture in.
Yeah.
That's kind of something when people bring their nitro cars in and they're trying to figure out why it doesn't run, and I basically tell them that an engine needs 3 things. It needs air, it needs fuel, and it needs heat. Like heat's not a bad thing for a nitro engine. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I mean, and like there's no rings in these engines. A lot of people don't or forget about that, because it's just it's pretty much a press fit inside of the top of that cylinder. And when you break in an engine, you're kind of matching that or lapping that together with fuel as like a lapping compound, right? Mm-hmm. So once that all laps together at 250 degrees or so, I mean that's where it's going to seal at.
Yeah, that's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. We got in another super chat from Jason Haley this time to kind of follow up on this too, and I'm gonna change the question slightly. Is the break-in process on little 12s any different than an 8 scale 21? Since that's kind of what we're all used to now.
Same.
And do you run yours? You just fire it up, set it on the ground, and just start going around in circles?
I have a pretty lengthy break-in process that I kind of borrowed from Gord Tessman, and it's awful. It's truly awful. It's
just the time spent on it, or
yeah, I mean, you got to block out a 6 hours of your day, and nearly a gallon of fuel.
Yeah,
for a 21. I mean, a 12 could probably go on a half a gallon, but I don't know what it comes up to be, like 20 tanks or something stupid.
Yeah,
that's
so
a lot.
The neighbors think I love driving my RC car in the driveway.
Right.
Basically. I'm like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not playing with this.
Yeah. The kids all like from the neighborhood come and like run around it while you're trying to break in your engine. That's what happens around here.
Yeah.
It's
so
like,
anyway,
this is serious business.
Yes, business work.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gore did a really long video on YouTube a long time ago about motor break-in, and it's just heat cycling for 15 plus tanks, same as I would a 21. So, and it depends on how much I spent on the motor and how much I care about it. Also,
yeah,
plays it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
$130 SH, I would probably spend about 30 minutes on, and then go race. So.
Yeah. Right. It would probably be fine. Yeah. And some of those other, I don't know. I mean, back when there used to be like, remember that Pico 12? Like from way back in the day, like the piston would like fall apart on it and stuff.
No, man.
Yeah. But it's like one of those, it's like you could run a race with it and like brand new and just run a race. Like you just don't care. Anyway.
What percentage fuel do you run? What percentage fuel do you run in your 12s? Is it 20%, you think?
I run 25 just so I can share it with my 8th scale.
Oh, okay.
So that way I don't have to switch back and forth. It might not be ideal for either. Actually, I think it's pretty ideal for 8th scale, but I run 25% Tessman blend of VP. But like something around 8% oil or so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I would use is VP fuel, personally.
That same Wasp engine, I was at a race in Texas one time. Johnny Cool Guy, remember that track? It was a while ago.
I don't think I've ever heard. No, I have heard of it, but I never seen it.
It was an RC Pro Series race. It was a South Division race that I went to, and I accidentally filled up my fuel bottle with 30%, and I ran it in that little 12. And I kid you not, I ended up getting like 16 or 17 minutes of runtime somehow. I was like, and Ben Bertle was with me at that race, and I was like, dude, what did you do? This thing, like, because I came in for a fuel stop. He goes, dude, you still have half a tank in here. I was like, no way. And yeah, it's because I accidentally put 30% instead of 20%. So it made it run.
That's funny.
Totally different. I had all sorts of power too. That's probably why I didn't use very much fuel, because I was like,
run good, run hard.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will.
Okay. So what's the starter box you'd recommend buying or getting for this bad boy if you don't have a starter box?
Really any 10th touring car starter box.
Yeah.
And I've adapted the Associated Factory Team starter box. It's universal, so you can flip the motor either way for 8 scale or 10 scale.
Yep.
The only difference is this wheel spins in line with the box in the car versus perpendicular. So, and then I make, just for ease for whoever wants it, there's a little 3D printed plate adapter for the front of that's on my website. So it makes it just really simple to get your truck aligned. And there's actually on that box, without that plate, it kind of wants to fall off of it. So,
yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the factory team starter box isn't like ideal.
Well, because you're basically
great with this adapter plate.
You're basically hanging right on the edge of it. That's why.
Yeah.
I have one of the chrome associated ones somewhere. I let somebody borrow it, and I think that they lost it or they still have it, but they can't find it. And
Yeah, that's the one you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm
But
looking
honestly,
for it.
I don't know. Mugen, I bet Mugen makes a Pro Start touring car starting box. I think they still make that.
Yeah.
Which would be ideal, I'm sure. So, an X-Ray, I'm sure, makes one.
Yeah.
Or Hootie.
Yeah. Yep, that'd be cool. Does Office still make a starter box? Are they still around making cheap starter boxes?
I don't know. I think Offna's gone.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, you can't find Offna starter boxes anymore.
Man,
yeah, I think they're out of business too. Offna, Hongnor, I think they're all gone, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all gone.
Yeah,
I blew up a Associated box once at that same
silver one.
Yeah, at that same RC Pro Series race in 06 at Rockford, and Rick Heisel was my pit guy, and he because you had to walk all the way up to get up to the driver's stand. Like it wasn't a driver's stand; it was the bleachers, right? And so I had to walk all the way up there, and then my stupid starter box quit, and so then I missed my race. So I came all the way down, and then I did a classic Alex temper tantrum, and I took that thing by its handle, and I just went kablam on the ground, and it blew up into a million pieces. And Rick was like, "What are you doing?"
Classic.
Fixing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm done with this crap, and then I ended up borrowing.
Send it straight to hell where it belongs.
Yeah, stupid starter box.
What body would you put on that truck? Since would a regular old 10 scale stadium truck body work, or you got to do something special or anything?
No, the respective kit bodies fit right on.
Mm-hmm.
The TLR, let's see. The TLR one flares out just a little bit because it's such a narrow body.
Mm-hmm.
So for the exhaust pipe, it flares out for the header just a click. But it still works fine. It drops right on. And the Team Associated kit body fits right on. And so they all work well. And then the J Concepts, is it a high flow? No.
There's the F2, and then there's that other one.
Yeah, I'm sure the F2 works good too, but the other one, I can't think of the names.
I think it's the high flow body.
I think that's what it's called. But yeah, it drops right on, just like it would your electric truck.
Yeah, I was probably going to use the F2 body. I think that one's cool.
It's got a different look to it. I might have to paint one up to see how it stickers up and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the one I was going to use because I use the F2 body on everything. Like I like that body more than and I have all, I think 4 bodies for 10 scale 2-wheel, and the F2 is my favorite.
Yeah, and I'm kind of crazy with bodies too. Like I choose bodies on handling. That's my number one. That's like one of my number one setup changes. So we'll see.
All right. And then, what are we looking at? Oh, go ahead.
I choose my bodies on which one's the cheapest.
And it shows.
You don't paint every single body available for said kit and go see which one rips.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
I'm so cheap. I'm so cheap. I'm still using my original B6 body on my B6 on my B6 So
I like that. I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get your money's worth out of that thing.
Yeah.
So what kind of upgrades do you recommend for that truck? Like if you're gonna build one, are there any like must-have items, anything like that?
Turnbuckles, without a doubt, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Either J Concepts turnbuckles or the Lunsford HD. You can't go wrong with either of those. And the tranny. So I'm running in like RC car tranny.
Yeah,
I'm running.
I was like, yeah, you're trying to get us canceled or what, dude?
I'm running the.
It is
Robinson
YouTube.
Steel idler, and
the Robinson Racing idler.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Okay, sorry. Alex is talking over you.
I'm sorry.
Sure. So the Robinson steel idler and the Robinson aluminum diff gear. So I'm running an all metal transmission, and I felt like a goofball at first, but then I'm like, why not? That'd be dumb not to. Because there's like no worry on the track. You just go drive and nothing will happen. What could happen? Yeah. So, those are also getting ready to come on my website too. The Robinson gears.
Yay!
Nice.
Because sometimes those can be hard to find, too.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty sold out everywhere. So I'm going to have them here in a couple weeks.
Good.
Nice. Do those ever wear out, like where the diff balls go in or anything?
I don't know yet. I've never used them before.
Neither have I. I've never run one. So.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm going to put it through. I'll run it till it stops. So
I had the Robinson diff gear in I think in the last GT that I had. I'm pretty sure I went all aluminum or all metal transmission as well, and I don't really remember there being any fit problems with that, even over a full course of the season.
Yeah, they have a nice looking hard coat on them too, so I imagine it's pretty durable.
Yeah.
Turnbuckles, transmission gears. Other than that, there's nothing that could go wrong.
Yeah.
On wood.
Right.
The chassis is an aluminum, right? It's an aluminum chassis.
Yeah.
And then I thought I saw like a carbon fiber fit thing in there. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's 70-75 aluminum for the chassis, and then the battery sits under the tank, touring car style, on the carbon fiber battery brace. So, or not brace, but plate.
I know what you mean.
What battery do you recommend for this?
Reedy 27313.
Okay.
It's a flat stick pack, and I can't think of the dimensions, but the dimensions are pretty critical. I don't have calipers with me, but it fits in that slot. So whatever that Reedy pack measures is what the pack needs to be. I know Dynamite makes one that's a tiny bit smaller, which it'll work well as also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because that was one thing I was like, man, I bet battery's pretty critical on that thing.
It is. It's kind of a tight space. Like height and width are really critical on that battery. So.
Right. And then I noticed on the website is there a brass plate that can go in the battery or a weight?
Yeah, so I made a brass option for the battery, and I'll stock those up again too. But for tracks like yours, I think that'd be a cool option.
Yeah, high grip, more weight.
Yeah, just more weight down low in the middle of the car.
Right. Yeah, that's always nice.
It'd be fun.
So then, what tires are you liking on your truck for outdoor and even at the Plex?
So when I was up there this weekend, obviously I did the gold ellipses, and they just rip. And then outdoor, I've run the flip outs, Goosebumps, Proline's whole shot. What else is out there? The Sprinter. I haven't gotten to run the Sprinter yet, but
I hear good things about that tire.
I was going to say, I'm thinking Sprinter on my mini truggy outside. It's going to be dialed.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be fun. So I really think J Concepts is doing a pretty good job with the whole tire range for trucks. So and I really want for good outdoor tires.
Would you use ribs up front? Is that still a thing?
I've always been a thin guy on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess Jason makes the carvers. I'm sure it wouldn't be bad to try them here and there.
I still have some.
That'll be my go-to.
I still have some IFMAR pins for truck.
Yeah, IFMAR pins and IFMAR studs. Those are my jam outdoor racing.
I wouldn't be allowed to race them right now.
Yeah, compound.
I just sold a vintage stadium truck tire lot a couple days ago on Facebook.
What?
And there were blades in there and some other low seat tire. I can't remember what it was. It was like a half of it, the pins laid one way, half of them were in line. It was a really popular tire.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I have a set at home. I'm going to look it up when I get home.
I know. I'm sure you do.
That's crazy.
I had step pins, bow ties, square fuzzies.
You know what? You
Yeah.
were a Proline guy for a
It's
while.
kinda
You know what
cool.
one of my favorite gas truck tires were Snake Eyes.
Oh, I had a set of those in this
Dude,
lot also.
those tires were the shit back in the day in Lincoln. They were awesome.
Did you ever run Evil Twins? That
Yeah.
Proline tire? Yeah. I had a
enough
set.
enough to not run them.
Yeah, exactly. I tried running them just because I liked the name one time.
Yeah.
Long time ago. I was like, Evil Twins, sign me up. And it's like, man, I wasted a set of wheels. Man, I really want to try rib front tires, just to like old school out there. You know,
Regionals,
outdoor.
bro. You still got your GT2? Come to regionals with me and Emerson. We're going.
Well, when's regionals?
June
It's in
26th.
Well, hopefully I have a gas truck by then.
It's
you know
in
what I'm saying?
between.
So I can
It's in
have
between
regionals.
two. It's in between our summer series
easily.
races. It's gonna be perfect.
Yeah. Oh, and that's awesome. So yeah,
Do you-
I got to get. Will, you'll have yours by then. I think Alex Vanderbeek's going to get one going for that. Hopefully.
Yeah, I talked to them, and I don't know what they were planning on doing. They're kind of
Maybe they're
Up in
probably
the air,
just
maybe.
making me feel. They're probably making me feel good.
yeah.
We're all
It'd be
hanging
cool if
out.
they did it.
Yeah, it would be cool.
But I'd like to have an 8 scale by then too, or maybe an e-buggy. But for the regionals, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
get an e-buggy, then you and I can have a death match.
Yeah,
Oh man.
or you can get a gas truck. I got an extra motor
I know.
and pipe and stuff.
I could probably find a loaner somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. So what are tracks that you think would be good for a gas truck at? Like what? Because like so this is why this is such a critical question for me. Is like when gas truck kind of went away, a lot of the people blamed the tracks being too big or the tracks being too this or that for gas truck, and then everything went 8 scale. I know that there's a lot of good tracks that you could run this at. Have you heard of any like off the top of your head that would be good? I mean, personally, I think the Plex would be bad to the bone for gas truck, especially
so
at our
first-
winter series.
Oh yeah, we're doing it next year, without a doubt. It just takes 8, Alex says.
Alex's face.
I thought it froze.
It's just so we're the turnouts are so good now. It's blowing my mind. I don't want to add any extra classes.
I know, yeah.
You know.
That short course is gonna have to go. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of the part of the plan, anyways. So
Sorry. I'm drawing a blank on his name now, but anyway.
Yeah, so we just drop 4-wheel drive short course and we said get some gas truck. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
So to answer your question, the first on the topic of what tracks work, I'll start a different direction. I think it's not quite accurate when people say tracks favor 8 skills more than 10 skill. If you think about the ones that come to mind first, like Thornhill, Nitro Compound, Revelation, I don't know, whatever the mega tracks come to mind. Those are what is in people's heads, I think, when they say tracks are too big. But then the other side of that coin, the other 9 of the tracks are fast lane size, Hobbyplex size, like P&T Hobbies. What are, some off the top of my head.
Thunder Road.
Shaw's down in Oklahoma. Thunder Road, yeah. That's the average track. That's perfect for 10 skills. So
but I think
I don't buy it when people say tracks are too big.
But I think, see, now, when I quit gas truck, I saw the writing on the wall for me because I was showing up at tracks, and I'm not to throw Steve under the bus in any way. This is not meant as a jab, but I would show up to Pleasant Hill with my gas truck, and there'd be a 30-foot gap double.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm clearing that with my gas truck. And
That's true.
I think that's what people meant. And I actually think that I don't think tracks have gotten tamer, but I do think that tracks have gotten more refined. I think you probably could run gas truck at Thornhill because all their big gap jumps also have a double option. Now.
Yeah, I keep looking at videos of that place saying I am coming down there.
I
want to
move there. I would love to just live in Austin and go race somewhere instead of being in charge of anything.
There you go. So anyway, here's my list. It's actually pretty lengthy.
Nice.
Those are all the tracks that either plan to support the gas truck class or can. I'm just going to try to highlight, like, there's a lot of people in Southern California that have these, and they all have plans of racing at Hot Rod.
Oh yeah.
Hot Rod isn't Pegasus really nice. One that they were still racing gas truck at?
I don't know. Is Pegasus around? Seemed like I heard the other day that Pegasus didn't have their outdoor track anymore. I haven't heard of anything of Pegasus in
a while. I know that I think Notch Johnson was the race director for a while. But dude,
I remember when I was putting together that GT2, I was watching videos of them club racing gas truck still at Pegasus. I thought it was Pegasus. I could be wrong.
Hot Rod's a perfect track. It's outdoor. It's 10 skill sized. He never does any stupid jumps. They're always yeah.
So I think he's going to have a pretty good following, assuming he'll support it. But it seems like there's a lot of races out there that really want to take it on there. But and Delta RC is a track up north that Tyler Vick was telling me about.
Yeah, Delta's cool.
Is it?
That's the one. Cool. It's got a cover. That's a cool place. There's some really cool videos on YouTube of that track.
Colorado has a pretty huge following in general, and they have a series. I forgot to jot it down. A series that hits LRC and a track in Cheyenne. So they have a whole series for this summer that they got a pretty good following that's going to be running trout for the whole series.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I think it might be, I don't know, like your typical 5 or 6 rounds, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, Tarkar, and Sandpit. That's some that Al threw out to me, Al Horn. And then my region, it's a little bit of a stretch for you guys to like consider dirt burners, but like fast lane dirt burners when they get the driver's stand. Your track, Omaha, Hobby Haven. I don't know what the status is.
Hobby Haven could be fun.
Yeah, that would be a pretty nice weekend. Drive up there, race gas truck, come home. You know.
And then South Missouri, we have a place called Chicken Dinner.
Yeah, I've seen videos.
I've never been there.
I've seen videos of that on YouTube.
It's a good-looking track.
It is.
Just a good-looking old-school track.
Yeah.
Out in the field.
Yep.
Oklahoma. What do we have down there? Oklahoma, Texas. Shaw's. Little track in Oklahoma that's really cool. NDRC. That whole Texas crowd is really into this. So,
yeah.
I think those... number 1 air track. I can't think of where it's at, but it's DFW area.
Yeah.
So those guys are big into it. Indiana, I was talking to Adam Rails, and he told me Victory RC, Jack's Tracks, VCRC.
Yeah, it's Joe Law's track, Victory.
Victory is?
He's got 3 different big races this year that kind of take the place of State Line's dates. Now that State Line's not around, and I'm actually thinking about Emerson and I going out there sometime this summer for one of those.
Oh, nice!
It's beautiful.
I've got way too many races that I want to go to.
He does a really good job.
I'm already up to like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? In like just northeast Pennsylvania, there's Pit Stop, Powerline, Adrenaline, and WOCRC. I'm pretty unfamiliar with the northeast.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they seem to have a pretty decent following up there. And then Florida is kind of the last little pocket that I've got that I've had a lot of activity in.
Florida's a region all of its own.
I know. I started listening to tracks, and I didn't even get them all, I guarantee. Lake Park, SS Hobbies, Newberry, Triple Nickel, Dean's Discount Hobbies, and Mills Pond. Those are... I'm sure I missed some too. And those are all outdoor 10 scale tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So they got it made. They got it made down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except when it rains.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we already kind of talked about upcoming events, but is there any upcoming events that you can think of to race gas truck at? I know one of them's Region A Regionals that we talked about, but are there any others?
Yeah, so we got the regionals, and then for me locally, we have our summer series, and we've got about 20 gas trucks locally that I think are going to make a pretty strong appearance throughout our series.
Okay.
And then also Shaw's down in Oklahoma, they're doing a series as well that's got a pretty good gas truck following, like 10 plus, 8 to 12. And I can't think of any other and then Colorado, like I'd mentioned, they've got a good following that's pretty committed to a series. So
nice.
Yeah.
I've had an idea for a while now that I wanted to do some sort of like Sunday, on the off weekends from the summer series, because the summer series is once a month, so there's this it'd be like 2 weeks in front of and 2 weeks behind the next one. I've always wanted to do like a Sunday truck series of some sort, and that could be how we're able to still have mod truck, short course, but I've always wanted to do Pro 20 again too.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have
What's Pro 20.
Pro 20 is 20-minute main.
Okay.
Electric truck 20-minute main. And
nice.
Yeah. And so keep an eye out for that. I'm probably going to look at dates, make sure I don't go over the top of anybody important, and then figure it out.
Sundays are easy to land though, as far as dates.
Yeah, usually.
Well, kind of, I guess.
Most of the time.
Yeah, without a direct conflict anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Rocky Mountain Summer Series. That's what the Colorado one is.
Rocky
Okay.
Mountain.
That's probably a short drive for you, Will.
Colorado?
Wyoming.
No.
7 hours?
Like what,
I don't
6
think
hours?
so.
That's 7 hours from Omaha to Cheyenne.
Yeah, so it'd be 6 hours
Okay.
for me.
Yeah.
That's pretty short.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Hmm.
Do you ever talk to somebody? Do you ever talk to somebody from SoCal, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I got to drive like 30 minutes to get to this track. It's bullcrap." And we're like,
Yeah.
that's pretty messed up, man.
I drive an hour every time I want to race, practice, whatever. An hour drive.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Shame. I don't know if I would do that or not. Fastlane 15 minutes from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm committed,
nice.
Chad. Full commitment right here.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I had. Alex, did you have any other ones? Or
No, you did
maybe a cool gas truck story, or
yeah. Well, I mean, I would love to give a good grass truck story, but we're running out of time, and I kind of want to get to results since Chad's here and he raced there.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead and do results, whatever.
We can do it.
Do we need to do a break?
We do need to do a pivot break. So, Chad, this is the part of the show where we have to give in to our sponsor, and they get it basically to do a commercial in the middle of our program. So if you need to pee or something like that, this is a good time to do it.
Right on.
Okay.
And usually when I'm asking to do a break, it means I have to pee.
Yeah, that too. So okay. All right. So we're going to do pivot landing break.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This is a Pivot Lending Update with David Olson and Don Zoller. Get some.
This is David Olson with a Pivot Lending Update. Just want to kind of give you guys some of the activities going on in the conforming markets, some of the government markets, non-conforming jumbo markets. Now that we're into 2021, and here we go. Conforming loan limits have increased. So if you're looking for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, new loan limit is $548,250. So you can take a loan on up to that amount. In the high cost areas, so for example, a lot of the counties contiguous to like Denver, some of the bigger metro areas, and Denver itself, high loan limit is $822,375. So those are the new lending loan limits for conforming. In the government world right now, we have FHA loans. We can lend up to $356,362. So if you're looking for an FHA loan, you now can go up to $356,362. It's really good. That's about almost $100,000 more than we were at 5-6 years ago. Used to be around the 271 mark. VA loans, you can go up to the same as the conventional 548, 250. Jumbo loans are 548, 251, all the way up to 3 million. So we do a pretty good job in that space actually too. We have offices in some heavily populated areas of jumbo land out in Southern California, Scottsdale. We're now entering into New England. So if you happen to be in that jumbo territory, we got some really, really, really good jumbo rates. VA, again, that was the 548, 250. The last thing is USDA. USDA income limits have increased now in 2021. The new limit starts at $90,300 and tiers off at $132,050. Those are based on your household sizes. So the number of head in the household that gets you into that program. USDA is really nice. It is populations 25,000 and less for your city or town size. There are a few counties in Nebraska that are grandfathered in, a few areas or cities, I should say. Norfolk and Columbus exceed that, but you can still get the USDA programs, I believe. You can also get into the USDA programs, which USDA is 100% financing. So it's very similar to the VA program. There are a few unique program guidelines that they offer. For example, if the appraised value is higher than the purchase price, you can actually borrow up to 100% of the appraised value to include in your closing costs. So that's pretty cool. All right, so those are kind of the updates for the loan limits and income limits going into this year. If you have any questions on those, make sure that you reach out to either myself or Dawn. I know that the guys on the podcast, Alex and Will, tend to say that I'm out and about a lot, and which is true, but I always have my cell phone on, 402-881-5951, or reach out to Don Zoller, of course. I can get back to you and give you some updates on what you're looking for, and then get you with Dawn if she's unable to answer the phone.
David Olson, NMLS 16099. Don Zoller, NMLS 277589. Pivot Lending, NMLS 109995.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
So, full disclosure, I'm pretty sure that Gretchen and I are getting refinanced with Pivot. Yeah, pretty soon. Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. See, it works. Okay. So I want to, before we go, we're probably not going to get to any questions. So those of you guys watching, if you're, if you have a question, probably not going to get to it. We've gotten up to 34 viewers so far. So the goal is to get 50, and then I'm going to give away a gift card. So we got 34. I think that's like one more than where we topped out last week. So good job, Chad.
Yeah. Thanks.
Probably my wife.
Yeah. That's funny.
But since you're here and you were at the finals, I did want to make sure that we get over the Tecno Series results. And it had been a while since you've been to a Tecno Series. What was that like? What'd you think?
Your grip level was higher than I remember. Normally we have that kind of grip, but it's like the last race.
Yeah. Yeah, usually
So
by the
it was
middle
surprising.
of round 2, you're looking at the track going, oh wow, look at all that.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with the tires that we run now too, and the tire sauce that everybody's using. I mean, a lot of people are basically using the same tire sauce as well.
Yeah, I had so much fun though. The track was so fun, and I was so excited to run the main. I hadn't been that excited to just go race and be on the clock for a long time. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, let's just start off with the A main. So we had, just to go over the turnout, we had 215 entries, which that is now a new record for the Tecno Series. And I think we got down to an E-main in Expert Nitro buggy. So there was a lot. There was a lot of cars there. First main event of the day was Sportsman Buggy, and this was one of the classes that was still up for grabs. Luke Baker went into it with a lead over Philip Hoke, and the craziest thing happened. Lucas flamed out on like the third turn, and he lost about a minute and 40 seconds to get back out there. And so I was like, oh, wow, it's over, because Philip had the lead, and he was gone. And I'm like, wow, it's over. Like, there's no way that Lucas is going to be able to come back for that, even if he did, finish up a few more spots ahead of where he's at now. I'm like, Philip's got such a big lead. Well, then 10 minutes in, Philip flamed out. And they finished. Then it looked like they were only going to finish 2 positions apart, and then Philip had more problems, and all of a sudden Lucas went from dead last all the way up to 5th. And Philip dropped to 8th. So
Poor Philip.
Yeah, Philip had it, man. His car looked good. He was driving really well, and he just needed no mechanical anything. And the mechanical fun suck came up and got him. However, Matt Kessel, who I believe is a St. Louis guy, and he's fairly new, ended up taking the win. And our guy Tim Crystal, fellow Kansas City area person, finished 2nd, and then Josh Shout from the 8th spot got a 3rd, and that's a pretty good way to end the series for him. John Davies finished 4th. Baker, like I said, was 5th. Caden Clemmy broke out here. He was unable to finish, but only 10 seconds before the final. Keith Vanderhyde was 7th. Philip Hoke ended up 8th. Brad Horsch was 9th, and then Parker Clemmy did break out. And I think both Clemmy brothers were doing really well too. So they just had some mechanicals come up and get him too. But with that, Luke Baker ended up winning the series. Philip Hoke came in 2nd, and I can go in and look and see who got 3rd. I think it was one of the Clemmys, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, it's kind of an exciting race. I mean, you could say Nitro Fun Suck, but at the same time, when something like that happens, and then something 10 minutes later happens, and all of a sudden, all this stuff happens, it kind of makes it more exciting for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely makes it interesting and fun to watch,
Yeah.
Like, it's never fun to watch anybody run away. It's like, all right, let's go get snacks or something. But
yeah, exactly.
when that happens, it's definitely a good race to watch.
Well, that's a good lead in. So speaking of not watching anybody run away, let's move on to Expert Nitro. This is the 2nd race. I always like to do Chad, I don't know about you, but I feel like we've got it down at the Tecno series, where we're able, especially now that we're running Sportsman in an expert class, where we're able to knock out, for me personally, like it relieves a lot of stress and anxiety to get Nitro Expert Buggy out of the way. Get it done.
I like that.
Yeah. So the Sportsman guys, we have yet to have one of the Sportsman guys in the Expert A main. So it just works out too, where we have them as corner marshals, So, Seth Van Dalen and Mason Fuller were on like this next extra level on Saturday. It was crazy. I posted the video online, and they were basically nose to tail almost the entire 30 minutes. Maybe the last 4 minutes, they finally got away from one another. But I don't know. How many times did they lap you?
Who cares? Who knows? The first time, though, I saw it and I noticed it because it was so soon. I'm like, I was going pretty decent.
Yeah.
So that was funny. I didn't think much of it, but I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Usually,
Go ahead.
usually if they're all here, Mason, Jared, Tom, Ashton, Jared Wiggins, and Seth Van Dalen. Usually, if they're all here, the tail end of Expert A main starts having them come up behind him within 2 or 3 minutes. It's crazy, the pace that they're pushing. I just said that because I thought it was funny. By the way, I hope he didn't take that personally in any way.
Shoot, no.
Okay. But basically, Seth and Mason were basically trading, not necessarily jabs. They were almost nose to tail with no passing for the first pit cycle. And then the second pit cycle, Seth was really laying on the pressure on Mason. Actually did get around him. And then made a mistake, and Mason got back in front, and then they stayed that way again. Then the third pit stop came, and both dads were doing really good. Mike Fuller and Sean were both nailing the pit stops. They were within a tenth of a second of one another, so there was no real advantage in pit lane between the two of them. And then Mason finally cracked a little bit the last 7 or 8 minutes where Seth was just hounding him, got around him, and then he wrecked behind him, and that's kind of what happened there. Other than that, they would have finished probably even closer than that if it wasn't for that last wreck, basically.
That's pretty awesome. They can race for that long, that close.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean,
yeah,
because I kept waiting for something to happen that would separate them, and it just didn't happen until the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Jared Tebow had a weird day. Qualified 5th, finished 3rd, but it's just strange to say that he wasn't really part of that. Like the first 4 or 5 laps he was there, and then after that, Seth and Mason is just gone. And Jared was just there just doing what he needed to do to get a good finish, but I never really announced him that much, you know? And the other thing, too, was he was pulling away once Tom had his flame out early. He was pulling away from everybody else, too. So it was just this weird, there's just a weird separation that happened. It would have been pretty awesome to see, you know, all 3 of them. But I think Jared had a wreck, too, and that made him separate initially, you know. But Jared stayed on Sunday. Him and Wiggins and Van Dalen actually stayed on Sunday and tested a bunch of stuff too to try to get their cars to maneuver a little quicker. I guess it's just funny.
I saw Wiggins' video.
It's just funny how Seth can sometimes overcome how his car handles, and just he's able to just overcome that and still stay, you know. Still stay fast.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Tecno guys were all basically complaining that their cars were tight. And, like, they wouldn't rotate as much as like, the low-C car and stuff. But somehow Seth was
That's
still...
funny.
Yeah. Right?
I'd give some rotation away. Holy cow.
So Tom Rinnernecht also, I mean, actually for what happened to Tom, so on the video, if you watch it, it's up on YouTube. Like the 4th lap in, he caught kind of an open spot on the pipe. His car got stuffed underneath of it, and then it flamed out while it was sitting there. So he had an early flame out. So for most of the race, he was also, he was producing super fast laps, but he was way back there. And then the last maybe pit cycle, all of a sudden, he started picking him off again, and was able to climb all the way up to 4th place. So, if that flame out hadn't happened, this might have been a 3-way battle for the whole time, maybe. I mean, the speed was there for sure. But Tom's known as an electric guy too, so it's one of those things where he was there, he wanted to race, but he was also trying to learn as well. Him and his dad are still trying to learn the whole nitro game. You know, it's not just driving. It's the engine, it's the tuning, it's the pit stops, it's all this stuff that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins was 6th, couple laps back from. I'm sorry, Ashton Abdullah was 5th. God, he's so close.
Yeah,
like he's so close to breaking through to that next level with Mason and Jared and Tom and Sean and Seth and those guys. So. He'll rip off a fast lap, but he needs to get him back to back like they do, you know?
Yeah, it's just finding that comfortable speed.
Yeah.
You know, or being comfortable at that speed.
Jared Wiggins was 6th. Mitchell Pavel got the bump and finished 7th. Chad, you finished 8th. 74 laps. Everybody in this one finished too, which is always good, and that's how you know they're expert 8 scale. They're not really sportsmen.
Yeah, no joke.
Cal Holmberg was 7th, and Bradley Peterson was 10th. And then in the points, Seth actually wasn't in the points because he missed too many rounds. He's been jet setting all over the place. So I believe this is only the second time that he's been here this year. And it was basically down between Mason and Jared Tebow for the win. So Mason finishes in front, so Mason gets the win. Jared Tebow was second, and Ashton Abdul finished third for the season. So
wow,
good job for our local fast kid now. Let's see. Then you got Pro 4, and there was actually a lot of them, dude. For previous years, we've had 3 or 4 heats of them. We had 2 heats. We had 15 trucks. Easton McCormick took the win from the 4th position too. Ended up beating his dad. Ashley got a TQ in a second. Sean Van Dalen got 3rd, and then it was Eric Fletcher, Tyler Fleming, Nick Poppenfuss from the 9, the bump spot, getting up to 6th. Cal Quast in the 7th, Rob Turner 8th, John Martin 9th, and Andrew Schultz was 10th. In the points, it was Ashley, Easton, and Sean. And that Pro 4 was kind of figured out last month. There really wasn't a way that could change. So, Mini Truggy. This is my new bag, by the way, Chad. This is my new fun class that I like to run. So,
are you loving it?
I'm excited to race it outside. Actually, I want to go to a big outdoor track and pound this thing out there.
There doesn't look like anything wrong with Mini Truggy.
No, it's a blast. How about Bryson Pavel from the 10th spot, the bump up? By the way, we had 36 Mini Truggies on Saturday.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and
4 heats.
4 heats, and then we could have had an ABCD. We could have had an E main, but I was like, no, I'll just throw them all in the main together. So I think we had a 12 card D main, but they're so small. I was like, yeah, right. We'll make it work. But Bryson Pavel did not make the A main. He didn't qualify into it, so he had to get the bump, and he got from the 10th qualifying spot, ended up winning this race.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you finish?
I didn't race.
Oh, you didn't race Mini Truggy?
I had the point series tied up. I locked up. I didn't have to race. I raced.
And you didn't have tires.
And I didn't have
love
tires.
This class so much. I'm not racing it.
No, well, here's the thing. I'm trying. I have one set of gold ellipses. One. So I don't even want to run my truck again until the ProTech race in April.
Yeah. So
you probably won't see me do that. I'm actually kind of excited to race my e-buggy on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Stephen Will, this was his first time at the Plex, qualified 4th, finished 2nd. Sean Van Dalen finished 3rd. Jay Calaherka was 4th. Dane Gangler was 5th. Cal Quast was 6th. Connor Herrick was 7th. Philip Hoke was 8th. Ashley McCormick was 9th. And James Ham was your TQ, but busted out early in this one. And I think that actually changed the results in the points for 2nd and 3rd. So I won the point series. Sean Van Dalen, last year's champ, got 2nd, and then James Ham finished 3rd overall on the points. Then Big Truggy. We followed up with Big Truggy, and it was weird because Zach Van Dalen wasn't here. It was reported that he's got a girlfriend now, and wanted to stay home this weekend.
Oh no, that's it.
That's it. It's over.
He gone. He
gone. So last year's podium. Greg, Jeremy, Zach, it was Zach, Greg, and Jeremy. With Zach being gone, that means he didn't actually make the points. So that means that 3rd place all of a sudden opened up. So Greg Baumel finished 1st. Clayton Cardeluca came down, got 2nd. Jeremy Whiting finished 3rd. Braden Billington 4th. Patrick Mitrovic 5th. Don Drews from the bump spot finished 6th. Chris Stapes from the bump finished 7th. Chance Rolk was 8th. Jason Hack was 9th. Chris Morant went home because he was exhausted, and because I don't think he slept.
Ever.
Ever, but I'm pretty sure. But he wasn't really in the points either. So Greg Baumel took the championship. Jeremy Whiting got 2nd, and then Braden Billington, his first time coming up to the Tecno Series, ended up finishing 3rd overall for the series. Sportsman Electric, this was one that was not really in question. as far as the winning of the points series, but it's crazy to see the improvement of everybody that runs this class. Connor Herrick got the win. Philip Hoke finished second. Jackson Anderson finished third. Now, Jackson Anderson had this race locked up early, like 5 minutes in, and all that had to happen was, it was kind of like Nitro. The only way for Philip to win the points was for something crazy to happen to Jackson Anderson. Jackson Anderson broke like a shock or something 5 minutes in. And so his car, so his car was not handling like it should have. He actually came into the pits, and Tebow was rolling his hands and yelling up at him, just keep going, just keep going. So he ended up going back out there, and he finished the race in third place. And he had such a big lead and the TQ that it didn't really matter. All he had to do was basically finish, I think, like sixth or better, and it wouldn't have hurt him.
Did he win the points then?
Yeah.
That's nice. Good.
Yep. So Jackson Anderson third, Dane Gangler from the 9th spot all the way up to 4th, Bryson Pavel 5th, Parker Clemmy got 6th, Corey Heft from the other bump spot was 7th, Troy Jackson was 8th, Kyle Kukurik was 9th, and Nick Pavel finished 10th. And then in the points, I got to remember who's third. It might be one of the Clemmy brothers. I think it is. I'm pretty sure the points went Jackson, Phillip, and Parker. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Without going back, my phone's about to die, so I got to make sure I get through this. And then we move on to Electric 8 Scale, last race of the night. This one was a heartbreaker for Jared Tebow, I got to say, because Jared had a big enough lead on Mason that I going into this, I was thinking to myself, wow, Jared's got a top 3 easy, so we don't have to worry about it. But Mason Fuller was on it all day. He got a TQ and a win. Ashton Abdul was on it as well and finished second. He was 8 seconds back from Mason, but he finished ahead of Tom Rinderknecht, who qualified second, finished third. Then Seth Van Dalen got 4th. Jared got 5th. Now, Jared was coming up. Jared lapped me. I let him go in the corner. We had this big gap jump, right? And with e-buggy, you could hug it pretty tight and just goose it, and your car would go wee and land on the downside. Jared had just lapped me, and he went over that in front of me, and I saw him basically, the pipe had broke pretty much, and I saw his car just basically get jammed underneath of that pipe, and I got my lap back.
On the inside?
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, bad spot. And it's not like you can do anything about it during the race because that's a bad spot for Marshall to try to fix it too. So I'm up there, that's why I don't like racing these things, because I'm up there going, oh, son of a bitch, that pipe's broke. That looks like crap. Oh, crap. Jared just stuffed his in there. I'm like, oh, crap. This sucks. It's the track. The track's, and so I'm thinking to myself that. But that basically was the difference for Mason to edge out Jared by 1 point for the championship. So if Jared had finished in front of Seth or in front of anybody, if he would have just finished 4th, they would have tied, and the tiebreaker would have went to Tebow.
Man.
Yeah.
Devastation.
Brutal.
And that's the first time Jared's ever been to any of our point series races at the Plex and actually been in the points before. So nothing against Mason, but I really wanted him to win one of those because then his poster gets on the wall. Right? So people would come in to the Plex, next winter and see Jared Tebow's face up there, two-time world champion. Oh, Jared Tebow races here? That's what's going through my head too. So I it's nothing against Mason, but I was kind of rooting for Jared to take it,
Jared would probably be mad, but you could do a runner-up plaque just to still get his face up there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Jared doesn't like finishing second, so I don't.
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna do that. That will not happen.
I don't know anybody that races that is looking for second.
Or
ever be, huh?
Or 8.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, if I got second at this race in e-buggy, I would be so happy. At this point in my life,
yeah, same.
At this point in my life, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll take a second.
I could live with it, but I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never happy finishing second. Like, I'm okay with it.
I think I started having more fun with RC cars when I got rid of the if you ain't first, you're last mentality like 2 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right.
Okay, Mason Herrick was 6th. Mason and I back there in 6th and 7th were having one hell of a race. I mean, it was really fun. And my car had started out really good, but it gotten away from me at the end of the race. My tires were bald when I came off the track. And this was only the 5th time that I personally was even driving this car, and I had made basically no changes to it. Jared Wiggins gave me some springs, and that really helped, but I haven't actually taken any time to learn this car at all. So for me, it was a struggle just to get through the race and put down any sort of fast laps. But that being said, Mason and I were having a really good one. But in the end, he got me by 4 seconds at the end there. Cal Holmberg finished 8th. Clayton Carter-Luke was 9th, and Jackson Anderson finished 10th. He was able to start the race. Honestly, I just wanted to beat Jackson in this one. I was just pretty happy. I was pretty happy about that. I would never hear it down. I would never live it down if Jackson had beaten me.
Jackson was texting me that he
he qualified me.
He was making sure I knew.
But I'm like, there's no way you're beating me in this time, Buggy. Okay. So that's Tecno Series results. It ended up being the exact same podium as Nitro. It was Mason, Jared, and Ashton Abdul in e-buggy.
Nice.
So that concludes our 2020 and 21 Tecno Winter Series. I have no doubt that Tecno will be back on board for next season, and we might make some small changes to stuff if the turnouts stay the way they are. I'm not going to add an extra day, but I might change some of the main times. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I might have like a rule, like if we hit a certain number of entries or heats, we'll cut down the main times a little bit. I don't know, something like that. I'll figure it out.
I had a blast. I'm definitely participating more next year.
Yeah. Hopefully we have tires next year too.
Yeah, no joke. Well, yeah, that's going to be a summer-long issue with hoarders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird because the Plex had like 50-something pairs of gold ellipses to start the season, and they were gone by December, round 2.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, with that, we better go because we're at like 96 minutes. So I try to keep these to an hour and a half now, or less if I can do it.
Yeah.
Chad Parks, thanks for coming on. It's always fun when we have a guest because sometimes Will and I just start running out of stuff to talk about. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was fun.
And what's your what's your website?
IgniteDesignRC.com.
Okay. And would you like to thank any personal sponsors for your race program?
Oh, I mean, Team Associated, Reedy. I almost said LRP. J Concepts, they're new for me this year, so it's been really fun getting to know their tires and get going on that. So
nice.
And honestly, thanks to all the people that supporting the gas truck thing. It's really cool to see the response and all the nice things people are saying. So that's cool.
Yeah,
right.
It makes it feel worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would suck to do all that work and not have anybody buy anything.
Yeah.
Or they say that sucks.
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna have like distributors shipping your trucks at some point, or is that something?
I doubt it. This is direct.
That would require
direct sales.
That would also require a lot more manufacturing on your part too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is kind of set up as a boutique.
Yeah.
So to speak,
right.
Boutique brand, direct sales, kind of like YT bikes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can compare myself to that, but
Yep.
Yeah.
Same idea.
No, that makes sense. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks to Pivot Lending Group for making our show weekly. As always, you can find it at pivotlending.com. Make sure you mention our show. And if you go through with a refinance or home loan, it's $500 lender credit and or 0.125 off your interest rate, your choice. And that's they provide the way for us to come to you weekly, which is always fun, even when it's not. And it's never not been fun. We
like to have fun here.
Yeah, we like to have fun here. Will Brenton, thank you very much for thinking of Chad and for being guest hosts. And we're gonna take off.
Yeah, no problem. I do what I can.
Yeah.
I aim to please.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
All right. We're out. We'll see you guys.